coming to the US? Because I am in the US right now and I know the demand, right? So you are in Qatar, Doha, Qatar. So before
Yeah.
we're going to start, I'd like to say formally to start this, I'd like to say good morning, everyone. Good morning to those who are in the Philippines. Actually, it's good afternoon because it's 2 p.m., I think, in the Philippines right now. And in California, it's actually 10:08 p.m. Okay, now in California. And what about you, Grace, in
Um,
Doha, Qatar?
it's 9 o'clock in the morning here.
Oh, okay, 9 o'clock. And Sir Brian, what time is it there?
It's 6 o'clock in the morning.
Okay, so we have
So
three different time zones.
Yeah.
We have three different time zones, and we are doing this. I am from Linguist Access Tutorial, and Sir Brian is a personal coach for your IELTS. I can definitely guarantee that, not all native speakers have the heart to teach. I mean, I have to say that I have been in the business for quite a while. I think more than a decade actually. I think if my memory serves me right, a decade and a half. Okay, so I'm kind of old in this practice. So, but I can really see how, how he desires to really help a lot, especially Filipino nurses, because he's also happily married to a Filipino nurse. Okay.
That's true.
Yeah. So we have regular classes. Let me just, start with this. We have regular classes actually for our IELTS. We also have like speaking, listening, reading, and writing. But this afternoon, we are purposely doing this. So let's just follow the time zone in the Philippines since we have a lot of nurses in the Philippines. Um, we're giving this for free. And like I said, Brian and I would like to help our fellow Filipino nurses, actually, because I'm saying our fellow, because like I said, he is happily married to a Filipina. So he's also representing spousal privilege of a nurse. Okay. I'm in the US right now, and I'm also a registered nurse here. Yes. And I'm happy to say that it's all worth it. So let's try. Let's give it a try. Now, first and foremost, I'd like to ask Grace. Yes. So when was the last time you took your IELTS?
Uh,
Yeah.
yes, October 30. Yes, October 30, because I was in a hurry because I already received my interview date in US Embassy. So I don't have the visa screening yet. I'm in panic. And then I cannot even cannot even concentrate on my IELTS study, because I need to provide all the requirements that I have a long checklist, police clearance, my family, and then my son was in Canada for university, so I need to arrange a ticket to come, so we can attend the interview. So it's a big pressure for me.
Yeah, I know. So your son is in Canada and you will be in the US, I suppose.
Yes, because I applied. Actually, my husband was born in Canada, but he grew up in Australia.
Okay.
So it's very supportive that I wanted to work in United States.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Where he likes to go back. After this, he likes to go back to Australia. And then I said, okay, let me try the United States first. If it did not work out, then let's go to Australia then.
Yeah, sure. What about you, Sir Brian? Do you want to ask anything before we go into IELTS? Anything that you'd like to ask about Grace?
So where are you headed to which state are you headed to in the States?
In New Jersey. But yes, I got the employer there. It's a nursing facility. And then they offered me a good deal, so why not grab it?
Yeah, true. It's really good. It's open in New York and also in New Jersey. And I think they're also very good when it comes to, I think from the airport, they're gonna pick you up and then they're gonna give you a nice accommodation. I think everything is well provided. So why would you think twice about it, right?
Right. Opportunity not only once.
I know. Let me just start with some things. Actually, I remember. I think that was last year. I was offered a job there. Actually, one of my students work in Doha, Qatar. I have several students there in Doha, Qatar, and she asked me, I didn't have any idea. She asked me, would you like to work as a private nurse in the US? So what I was, I was offered a job to be a private nurse, but at that time I had a school and it was difficult for me to just simply give it up because I was about to start. I think I was already on my second week for the batch of students. So I said, oh, I have my tourist visa and, I don't think it would be a very good option. But she said, the offer is really good. So I said, okay, let me just talk to them and I'll contemplate about it. So we had a meeting. And then after that, I was told that I'll be taking care of a daughter of I forgot how you, I didn't, yeah, I forgot how the term, what was the term for that? And I didn't know. And I just said, okay, I'll try. Then I was trying to research about it. And then little did I realize that that was the sibling of the Prince of Qatar. So I was supposed to fly to New York to take care of as a private nurse because they want somebody who speaks English, a nurse, so that this qualification. So I didn't know, and I already declined
From
it.
royal family.
Yeah, how do you call that?
Royal family. Sheikh.
Yeah, but
Sheikh.
there's this term. I think you used that in there. I forgot the term. Not chic. I know the chic, not the chic, but they call. Forgot. Anyway, that's my assignment. I'll research about that. Anyway, yeah, I didn't know, so I could have met you there. Anyway, but God has a different plan. Let's give this floor to Brian because I know you're also excited. Yes, Grace, to have this. So what's going to happen? Let me just tell you what's going to happen here. So if you've watched our video last time, Brian will be the examiner. So he will be the first examiner. That means to say he will be doing all the full course of the question, okay, the part 1, the part 2, and the part 3. Then right after that, I'll be making my comments about your score, about your answer, feedback about your performance, according to how you are going to be tested on the IELTS speaking exam. I don't know if you are fully aware of how the criteria or what are the criteria for the speaking. Are you aware of that?
Actually, to be honest, I don't know.
Oh,
and
okay.
I really need somebody who will assess me.
Oh, yeah, sure. So what's going to happen would be, yes, basically, I'll make Brian the host, okay? He'll be the host. So then, hang on a second. Okay, so Brian, you'll be the host, and later on, or your part 2, just give it to me so I can share the slide. Okay. So again, do you have any questions so far? So let's formally open this. This is a speaking simultaneous test for everyone. If you want to know what is going to happen in the real test of the IELTS exam, there will be 3 parts. Part 1, personal questions about the examinee, anything related to the examinee, interest, job. Then part 2, there will be a task card. You'll be given 1 minute to think about it and 2 minutes to answer the questions. And then part 3 will be follow-up question of part 2 questions. Okay, so this will run for 11 to 14 minutes, but this is a simultaneous test, so it depends to Brian if he will cut Grace short. I don't know how he's gonna go do that, but basically there will be 3 parts, part 1, part 2, and part 3. So let's formally open this. Yes, I'll give this now to Brian.
So good morning. My name is Brian Wren. Can I see your passport, please?
Here it is, sir.
Okay, thank you. So are you working or studying?
Okay, I'm currently working in primary healthcare corporation. I am a nurse.
Okay, and what's your responsibility in your job?
Okay, I'm an infection control focal person. So basically, the primary healthcare corporation has CDC team. And then here in Qatar, we have 34 health centers. And in each health centers, they assigned an infection control nurse. So my responsibility, especially this pandemic, is to implement the policy and procedures that our team made, so to avoid the transmission of the transmission
Okay.
of the virus. Yeah.
And how do you like your job?
Well, I'm passionate, and I really likes to take care of the patient, of the sick people. I don't know why. Since I was a child, I was that's my ambition.
Okay, and what aspects do you like or dislike in your job?
Okay, I like it. I like it because like what I said, I am passionate, and what I dislike most is the full responsibilities that the health center was given to me, and then I need to extend my hours without I'm s- without paying, and then I even during weekends I need to attend the duty.
Okay, thank you. So now I want you to get an extra sheet of paper, and I want you to think about this question for 1 minute, and you have 2 minutes to talk about it. So your question is that you would, we could share it with you, but I'll read it out. Describe a house or apartment you would like to live in. So your 1 minute starts now.
Can I be the host so I can share the part 2, please?
Okay, so I'm the host at the moment and I need to give it to you.
Yeah.
Do I have this option?
Yeah, you can put it here in the, you can click it on top. I think it should be on your upper right. There are 3 dots there, just have to click it.
No, I don't have this option on this version of.
Okay.
Okay, you may start talking now.
Okay, I would like to talk about my dream house that I like to live in the future. Recently, me and my husband were hooked to watch the Yellowstone series in the Netflix. So in Yellowstone, it's a story about of Kevin Costner living in the farmhouse, and then there are all cowboys and things like that. So me and my husband was thinking about, once that we get once that I get a job in New Jersey, maybe after 3 years of my contract there, we're going to live in Montana. So it must be a bungalow house with a 3-bedroom and only 2 toilets, because I don't like to live in a big house anymore, because I don't I don't think that I could maintain it, especially at my age. So I want to live there with my family, with my two children. I even asked my son Charles that from Canada, he must live with us. So why do I like to live there? When I saw it in the film, those landscapes and trees, all the cowboys, wearing the hat with their. I thought before it was a costume. I did not know that the Montana's people are really, that is their regular dress. So riding horses, it looks like that. They are very relaxed, and the weather is not like this. 50-degree. I think it's much cooler, and I saw their life is so simple. Very laid back. It's like you don't need to work hard to earn money. I think the people, and also I think the people there are polite and friendly. Although I saw also in the film that there are some rednecks, which they look like scary. I don't know, maybe. So,
Okay, thank you, Grace. So we'll now move on to task 3. Do you think it is better to rent or to buy a place to live in?
no, I'm a big no for renting. Actually, the house that we are living now is free, so it's okay. But I'm, to have the house your own is an achievement. So it's an investment as well. Yeah.
How easy is it to find a place to live in your country?
Okay, there's a lot of there's a lot of private firms in our country that keep on building apartment. Actually, yeah, I think it's very easy to find the place to live in.
Okay. Do you agree that there is a right age for young adults to stop living with their parents?
My son is 19 years old, and I was surprised that he said that, I like to live in Canada. And then I said, who will take care of you there? And then he said, I want to learn to live by myself. So I don't know.
Okay, what options are available to young couples looking for accommodation in your country?
For the young couples without children, I think it is better for them if they could not invest to buy a house. This small apartment is okay. But once that they have a child, like what my husband told me, that for children, a flat or an apartment is not advisable.
And could you describe to me what are some of the pleasures involved in making a home for ourselves?
Pardon me, sir?
What are some of the pleasures involved in making a home for ourselves?
I think it's a house is a comfort, just to make it plain and be comfortable, and all the families are here. It's pleasurable.
Okay, thank you, Grace. So that's the end of the speaking part 1.
Okay.
So back to Matt. Shall I need to
Yes.
give her expert analysis of this, and then later on I will do the same?
Yeah, okay. So basically you need to know, because this is what I always tell to my students. It's really important that you know what to say, but what is given more weight is how you say it. Okay, so they're looking into the process of answering question, not just only what to say, but how you say it. Because when you know how to say it, you're more concerned on making sure that they understand what you're talking about. That means you're getting your message across. Okay, you're making sure that your message is, understood. And part of that getting or understanding the message is that you should make it easy for them. Like there should be no feeling of difficulty on their part and on your part to get your message across. Okay. So what are you talking about? I mean, what do you mean by that? It's kind of vague on me. Okay. You might say that I think I made my message. I gave my message perfectly fine. Okay. Now let us go back to how the examiner is going to grade you. The first 25% of your score comes from fluency and cohesiveness. Okay.
Okay.
So what do you mean by fluency and cohesiveness? That's 25%. Fluency is the ability to speak as much as you can with fluidity. That means to say, yes, you may pause a bit, but you pause because you want to put emphasis on what you're going to say next. Or you pause because you're contemplating about what would be the best answer for this question. So that is what pause would be or pauses are. But fluency is just being able to talk with continuity. Okay. Now, yes, you are able to talk with continuity, but part of fluency, there's what we call cohesiveness. Are you answering the question? Okay. Did you answer the question? In your opinion, do you think you answered the question?
I think I don't
You
know.
think so?
I think so.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. So this is what is important about having a review, because somebody will tell you what could be wrong or what could be right about your answer. Okay. Now, since it's still fresh, I want to talk about the part 3, the questions which were asked to you. You were asked, do you think it's better to rent or to buy a place to live in?
Yeah.
In the IELTS, yeah, this is very common question. This is a very common question. This is an example of a preference question. You need to choose, you need to decide, okay? Now, you have the first option to rent a place to live in. The second is to buy a place to live in.
Okay.
Now, you need to make a choice. I think as I understood it, you don't want to rent. Instead, you want to buy, right?
Right.
So
Yeah.
you need, yes, right? So you need to state that clearly. So when you want to state that clearly, you need to either say, because I are actually, if you were able to watch one of my videos, I made a template that when you answer the question, you will follow a template. I have a lot of templates, but the first thing that I really talk about is the word area, as in literally the area which occupies space. A-R-E-A, right? How do we spell area? A-R-E-A. There's a mnemonic. That's a mnemonic. But what does this stand for? A, you need to answer the question. You
Okay.
can give me an ad lib. Yes, you can give me other answer, but I need a direct answer to the question. So that's the first A. Now, what follows that is the R. That means reason. You're going to give me your answer, then you will follow that with a reason. And then after the reason, you will provide example. Can I make up story? Yes, definitely. Or you can think about someone else's story or example. And then after you give your example or your evidence, you're going to go back to your answer. So that's just one question, but you're able to provide 4 sentences if you think about it.
Part 3 or also in the
Regardless, if you're asked, because you have to be fluent about it. And the number one problem among my students would be our students with Sir Brian. They have difficulty thinking what to say. And not only they have difficulty thinking what to say, they also have difficulty thinking how to say it. Okay? So now you make it easy for you. So it's a lot easier for the person to listen to you. Okay? Because if you're having difficulty, it's more difficult for me to understand what you're saying. If you're having difficulty, it's apparent for me or to me that you're also having difficulty developing your thoughts about it. That's why there are so many good speakers in English. They also have difficulty getting 7 in the speaking exam, because it's not just what you say, it's how you say it. So going back to the question, do you think it's better to rent or to buy a place to live in? You need to make a choice. So you would say, oh, and if I have a choice, I would choose the latter. You can say that. That's another way of answering it. I will choose the latter. The latter would be to buy a place. If you choose the first, you would say, I choose the former. Why am I going to use this expression? I'm not comfortable with this. Remember, 25% of your score is also vocabulary tests. So you need to show to them that you have good linguistic. Of course, part of that would be your words, your vocabularies. So you would instead of just saying, oh, I want to buy a house. So repeating the same word will not show to them that you have a lot of vocabularies. And so it's fine, it's okay if you can repeat the same words, but that will not give them an idea that you have a huge supply of vocabs. Okay, so let me go back. Do you think it's better to rent or to buy a place to live in? What did I say? Make a choice. Oh, in my opinion, I would like to purchase a place to live in instead of simply renting it. That's it. That's your answer.
Oh,
And then
okay.
after that, you're going to give me your reason. Well, this is because of the fact that if you're going to buy it, you can know for sure that this is something that you can redesign on your own without restrictions. Because if you're just going to be renting, you are at the mercy of the tenants. And there are a lot of restrictions, I can surely say that. For example, you're going to give me an example. Okay? I used to live in an apartment in Doha, Qatar, blah, 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 blah. Or at the moment, I am living in an apartment. And whenever I decide to make renovations, I always have to ask permission from the tenant. And most of the time, the tenant would not allow me to do so. So that being said, it's really difficult for me. I cannot just do whatever I want to do. Unlike if you own a house, which is you bought, you own that. You can just redesign it, put something on it, remove it, anything. If you think it's dilapidated, you can just change it and put something. If you want to repaint it, you have the freedom to do it. Therefore, you go back to your answer. If I have a choice, I would rather buy a house than rent it.
Okay.
That's it. Okay? That's 6,000 pesos. Just kidding. Okay, I'm kidding. Okay, and I made that myself. Okay, Brian and I have templates, and I made this template because I know for sure that most of you have difficulty answering questions, and not because you don't have any idea about it.
So we should start for the direct answer.
Yes, ma'am, if you can. If you can. Because sometimes if we are going to, like, for example, you were asked.
Because the question is such multiple choice. So yeah, they like to live in a house or an apartment.
Exactly.
So just go, so it must be a direct answer. Okay.
Yes, ma'am. So area, answer, reason, example, and answer. Okay, just remember that. You need an area to have a house. Okay. Yeah. So moving on. Brian asked you how easy it is to find a place to live in your country. You said it was easy, right? But I didn't even understand what do you mean by easy, because you were not able to elaborate on that. So easy to you.
Yeah. Easy to
Yes,
find.
ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Easy to you might not be easy to me. Ugly to you might not be ugly to me. Pretty to me might be, we have different opinions on, different things. So what are going to say? How easy it is to find a place to live in your country? Oh, it is for sure convenient. So I will try to paraphrase it. Because like I said, 25% of my score goes to my vocabulary. So if I'm just going to repeat the same word, that would mean that I have limited vocab because I just need to copy your word. So you need to think of another word. So how easy, that's the word there, how easy it is to find a place to live in your country. Oh, I can definitely say that it is very convenient. This is because of the fact that residential areas are sprouting everywhere. We have apartments, we have dormitories. You can also have a house, a bungalow type of house. In fact, one of my sons have one of my sons has planned to purchase a new lot in our hometown, and he could just into it or look for it in the classified ads or website. There's a specific website that you can just simply check for available houses nearby. That's it. I gave my answer, I provided my reason, then I gave my example or evidence, then I would go back to my answer. Therefore, if you want to look for a house there, I can definitely say it would not give you so much headache, because it's really just easy to find a house in my place, in my hometown. That's it. Okay. So do you agree that there is a right age for young adults to stop living with their parents? What happened with your answer? Okay. What happened with your answer? Yes, we're able to give an answer, but that did not answer the question. That was unresponsive. Why it was unresponsive? Because you need to tell me if there should be a right age. So if you would say yes, then tell me what age. So for example, do you agree that there is a right age? Well, I can say there should be maybe at the age of 18 years old, because that's it. You were talking about your son's experience, which is just a supporting statement to the answer, but you were not giving an answer to this type of question.
Okay.
Okay, so at least you know now.
Directly.
Yes, ma'am.
So example.
Yes, yes, ma'am. Then what options are available to young couples? Now, this question needs you, or this question, specific question, requires you to give or provide plural answers. What do you mean by plural? You need to tell me options. So what options are available to young couples looking for accommodation in your country? Well, I can say that for a young couple, it would be best if they're going to be practical about looking for a house. I think the first option would be, we call that flat or apartment. They can rent an apartment. I don't think they can afford to buy a house. So since they're still starting, it would be a good option for them to have a flat or apartment. And also, if they have the money, they have savings, then perhaps they can look for a house in a subdivision, which is just a studio type. So see, I'm giving you options now. The first one is the flat or apartment where they're just going to rent. And then if they have the savings, then they can start with a studio type. So give the monkey exactly what he wants. I'm asking about options. Give me options.
Okay.
If the question is asking for plural, you need to give them plural answer. If the question is asking for singular, you can actually give them singular, but if the examiner did not interrupt you, then you can add another. But if it's plural, you cannot give me singular answer. You need to answer the question. Give the monkey exactly what he wants. And the last part, question so far, clarification, anything you'd like to add before I would talk about the last question for part 3? Any question or clarification?
I'm just taking a note because
Sure.
I realize that I have a lot of things to.
Yeah, it's all right. It's all right. It's all right. Mom, this doesn't talk about, or this does not mean that you have less intelligence than I am. I just have the skills. Okay. Because I've been doing this since time immemorial. Okay.
Actually, I agree with this. Yeah, I'm just wondering, I answered their question. So what's the problem?
Yeah, I understand that. And I feel the frustration. And it even rubs your confidence, right? It rubs your confidence that, is there something wrong with me? I mean, why? How come? I'm married to a Canadian, okay? We speak English. We never speak my own dialect right? And then here comes, I'm taking the test now and I could hardly even get a 7 band score. Now, at least you know. the last part, before I'm going to give the floor to Brian. What are some of the pleasures involved in making a home for ourselves? The pleasure of what? The pleasure of choosing what style, okay, for a house, the design, the pleasure of buying it, okay? It's like a relaxing thing to do. It's therapeutic because you get to focus on things and so you forget about the stresses in life. Again, what are some? Remember, what requires you to provide noun, like an experience? What are some of the pleasures? The pleasure of what? The pleasure of buying things. When you buy things, it gives you that relaxation. It is somehow like an outlet. You can vent it out, something like that. So again, go back to the template, answer, reason, example, and answer. Okay? Thank you very much. That would just be for part 3, because if I'm going to do part 2 and part 1, I don't think we'll have enough time. So I'll give the floor now to Brian, if there's anything that you would like to add or say.
Okay. So Grace, it's rather an interesting story that you're married to a Canadian, but you struggle with the to get the IELTS 7, because my wife is exactly the same. She's actually a nurse here in the UK, but I think in the time we've been together, which is 12 years, she's taken her IELTS 3 times, and each time she's got worse. Okay, so that comes back to I think it makes a really interesting point. I mean, obviously, I can hear you speak. You can speak very clearly. I can understand you without any issue at all. So what you have is you don't have the techniques to answer the questions. This is what Shalani was going through. Okay, so you definitely can get this score. So we started off, and you actually started off really well. I could understand your answers. Okay, we need to work on just the techniques of answering the questions. But what I would say is, when I cut you off, which I did deliberately because I wanted to see what you would do, that flummoxed you, because I think you weren't expecting me to do it. Now, this will happen in the exam. Often when we're doing these type of tutorials, we let people go on longer than they should, but I was timing it, and you really did get to your 2 minutes, and so I cut you off. And you then, because you weren't expecting it, you didn't have the technique, that tells me you weren't prepared for the exam. So I think that's really interesting point, that people think that you need to improve your grammar, that you need to do this, you need to do this. Always my students, grammar. And I say, no, it's technique. Every single question that you get, you must have a technique to answer it. You must know that, for instance, when we got to down to, you answered the questions about the apartment, the house, the apartment, pretty good. You did that. But when we got to task 3, suddenly I think you felt a little bit nervous. And some of the questions you were like, oh, and this is great, because I did make you feel nervous, because in an exam you will feel nervous. So you need to just have these techniques of, okay, how easy is it to find a place to live in your country? Oh gosh, which country? Qatar, Canada, or the Philippines? Oh, okay. So you just use, so you just use the old politician's trick of just repeating the question to them to give yourself time. Don't and just repeat the question. Yeah. Oh, how easy is it to find a place in your country? Yeah. So you use that technique if you get nervous. But what you need is to just make sure that, and we're just looking at the speaking part 1, although it's the easy part, sometimes this can flummox you because they're asking you really simple questions and you're probably expecting really difficult questions like, what's your job like? Oh, I'm sure you come home from work as my wife does and talks to me for 1 hour about this happened and this happened. But then suddenly when you ask these really simple questions, so even though they're simple questions, it doesn't make it easier for you. But what Shalani was saying there, some really excellent points about you have to know how to answer each part of the question. You have to have a technique, because the questions themselves aren't difficult, but responding to them in the correct way when you've got all of this pressure. We're streaming live. I mean, you're used to native speakers speaking to you, but I'm deliberately putting you under a little bit of pressure by cutting you off and everything. And there you can see that you didn't have the techniques to answer the question, but your standard of English is definitely good enough to pass this test. I mean, even the classic things that a lot of people, well, everybody does, they and ah a little bit. You don't do too much of that, which is really good. Your accent is very understandable. Actually, the way you answer the questions, you're kind of looking directly at the camera, and so this is good. There's so many good things there, but it's just obvious that the type of review that you've done has not given you this technique and method for answering every question. So that's my point, rather than going into the minutiae of the question, is that we have Grace here, who's married to a native speaker, but she doesn't have the technique. And this is just a great example for us to say, because everybody hassles us all the time. Oh, give me grammar, give me some grammar tests. You don't need that. And I don't think many of our students do, but it's all about that method.
Yeah, and also I'd like to add, Grace is, of course, I think she has a lot of things in mind. She knows what to say. She has a lot of very good ideas than my ideas, I have to say. But yeah, like I said, examiners know when you are not being responsive to the question. And this is not just for Grace, this is for everyone. It's not just about speaking English. I want you to always have that kind of concept in mind, that IELTS is not just about English, okay? Like, I'm just going to answer English and I'm okay with that. No, you need to be responsive. So just for the sake of giving you this information, because this is supposed to be done in the review center or any review classes, let me make a recap about the criteria for your speaking. The first 25% would be for fluency and cohesiveness. So that being said, you need to be able to speak as much as you can. At the same time, you need to answer the question. Because you can be fluent, but not cohesive. I know a lot, like I have a lot of students, not to undermine those who work in the call center, but I had one time, one of my students work in a call center for 5 years. She's really good. Like she has a natural accent, and I can definitely say that, wow, she utters words correctly, the enunciation. So I can really say that this should be easy for her. But when I tried to listen to her answer, I had the same trouble. I had the same problem. She was not responsive.
Oh.
If I remember it right, yeah, the question was how do you contribute to the bad pollution of the environment? How do you contribute? So I'm asking about a process. So she said, oh, it's really difficult because, in the Philippines, blah, 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 blah. And it was a lengthy answer, but it was pointless. It was futile. I'm sorry. And I can be very direct to my students and tell them, if this is not an IELTS test, I will give you a 9 band score. But this is an IELTS test, I will give you 5. I'll give you 6. Why? Because, you need to answer the question. You need to understand what's being tested on you. So at the end of the day, she knew it and she said, I felt bad because I was overly confident. I didn't even think of going into the review center. I didn't have any plans of reviewing because this is my bread and butter. Like English is something that I do every day. And how come, you're giving me this score? And I said, yes, because you can get a 6 math score. And I can really say this to you now because most of the questions were not answered correctly. There's no right or wrong answer, but there's always a better answer. Just because it's opinion, you would say, oh, there should be no right or wrong answer. I'm just simply giving my opinion. Yes, but like I said, there's a better answer and there are expectations from you. Okay, so again, fluency and cohesiveness, that's first 25%. The second would be lexical resource. So you should be able to use wide, like your own words. You need to paraphrase. And I noticed that there was repetitive use of or expression, I don't know. Like I said, what you know is something that I may not know. Okay, so I want to know it. They call that, these are the words that have empty meanings. Example, like that. I don't know. Number two, etc. They don't like that. Okay, or something like that. Because I think we're used to that. Filipinos are like that. I am sometimes guilty of that. What do you mean? Something like that. Okay, what? What is it? Be specific and concrete. Okay, be specific and concrete about it. What do you mean by that? Okay, so that's what they want. They want it to, they want it to be very specific and, like I said, concrete. So etc. Let's avoid that because etc. to you might be different etc. to me. What do you mean by that? Elaborate on etc. Okay. So I think that was repetitively used. Yes, and then the first, fluency and cohesiveness, lexical resource. Third, like what Brian was talking about, grammatical range and accuracy. So part of grammatical range and accuracy is, are you using the right tense? Are you using the right tense? Because you need to understand that examiners have expectations on what tense to use. And the problem is that you should use past tense, but why are you using present tense? You're supposed to use present tense, but why are you using past tense? One perfect example. What did you do this morning? And for us Filipinos, we're not very careful on this kind of tenses. We think it's perfectly fine to use present if it's past tense. Yes. Okay, I'm not generalizing, but yes, sometimes that's the case. So for example, what did you do this morning? I go to my friend's house. I went, because the question was in the past form of the verb. So your answer should also be past tense. Okay? Another, what are you doing? Oh, I prepared my food. I am preparing. So just because the tense is present progressive, you should also use present progressive. I am working, I am sleeping, I am doing, I am. Okay? Always check your tense. That's grammatical range, because this is what you always have to be reminded of. Grammatical range, that means you need to use conjunctions. I just want you to understand. Like, I want to be fair to the examiners. They need you to have grammatical range, which is with conjunctions. And in addition to that, aside from that, however, on the other hand, you need to use this. Why? Because they don't want your conversation or your answer to be choppy. Like, I like you. You like me? We like each other. Okay. So they don't like that. So you say, I like you and you like me, then let's get married. Okay, something like that, right? So there's this what we call coordinated conjunction. You need to coordinate your point. You need to make sure that your points really is what are fluid. Like when I hear it, when I listen to it, wow, I can just truly understand what you're talking about. I can just simply follow through. I can just relate to what you're saying. That's it. But it doesn't end there, because it has to be accurate. And part of my lecture usually is I start with the criteria, because that would be the foundation of everything. Just like what happened today. right? I mean, you tried your best to answer and you think you were perfectly fine, but yeah. So this is not, this is not to put you down, Grace, or whatever. This is just to really pinpoint the things that we need to remember, because this is not just for Grace. I mean, like I said, I've been doing this for almost 15 years of my life, and I can definitely say that, Grace, you're just one of the few. Yeah. Or I should have said, Grace, I think that's the problem of almost all Filipinos. I even had one student before. He is my professor in the nursing. He is my clinical instructor. He was my clinical instructor, and he told me that I hated, taking IELTS speaking exam. And I was surprised because I can really say that he's really good when it comes to this. So this is not for you, Grace. This is for everyone, like majority. So I hope that we're able to help you. Is there anything that you would like to clarify, ask, or any question that you'd like to ask me, and so I can give you the right answer to the question? You can recall about, yeah, please.
Yes, okay. I've learned a lot of things today, like the area thing.
Oh,
You
thank you
know, I
very much.
didn't know all this stuff, and
Mhm.
well, maybe I need to focus to the question, like what you said. You know, there's options, choices. You know, I I don't I don't know
Yeah,
all these things.
yeah. You just have to sit down. Yeah, just
Yeah.
have to sit down, browse yeah. You just have to improve on your ideas.
Because actually I have also I don't talk much. I'm a bit
Mhm.
lazy, and I've been living here for more than in the Middle East for more than 20 years. So
Wow.
obviously our language here is
Yeah.
shortcut.
That's what they say, broken
Even my
English.
email is shortcut.
I know, broken English, right?
That's right. So if I'm writing a report, shortcut. FYI, ATM. Sometimes.
Yeah. Yeah, but I
And,
can definitely. Yeah.
and I'm actually, one of my responsibility, the health center, is to orient the new staff. So basically, more on Arabs and Indians. So you should not use high words. So if you
True.
will say, okay, this is this one. That's all. Okay, I don't need to talk anymore. Or else we cannot understand each other. Understand? No. No? Okay, let's move.
Yeah, I used to work in Bangkok before, but my boss was an Arab, and so he has this website. He has this website, and my role there was I was an expert officer, so I was the one responding to correspondence before I became a teacher also. So that's my double job. I'm really used to double jobs. So yeah, I was working with him, and then when I browsed the website, I was surprised because I'm sorry to say, the grammar was really bad, like broken English. And I told him, would you mind if I edit it? Because I can't just accept this, the wordings, the verb, all of this, because I was already a teacher back then. And then he said, no, it's all right. They wouldn't understand your English. So my English was bad English
That's
because
right.
they need to use this kind of English. And so I said, okay, I understand that. So yeah, I wasn't able to really check or edit the website because because of that.
Even our British doctors, they need to learn how to cut their sentence.
Oh.
Yes.
You
Yeah,
should
Brian,
cut
as
the
you were
sentence, or
saying.
else they will not
Mhm.
understand you.
Yes, Brian, you'd like to say, yeah, the same thing?
Yes, that's it. It's I lived in the Philippines for like 10 years, and I my family and friends will say that I changed the way that I speak. Um, and deliberately I've slowed down, and I'm leaving more spaces between the words. I don't know if my grammar has got worse or what, but this is what happens in when you're living in these countries. You have to adapt. But yeah, I would just say, Grace, you know, like you definitely have the English to ace this score, and you know, just work on the techniques and you'll be fine.
Yes.
Yeah, I can say that it's easy to achieve 7 band score, Grace. You have the confidence, actually, you know, you can understand the question, but like I said, it's just the technique that you need to improve. So just a little polishing and you'll be fine. You'll be able to get your visa screens.
I hope so.
Yeah. So thank you very much, Grace.
Thank you
I
so
know.
much.
Yeah,
Thank you,
very much.
Grace. Yeah.
Thank you, Brian. Thank you very
Learn a
much.
lot of
And
things today.
yes,
He
yes,
said
and
direct answer.
yes. Answer, give your reason, show evidences or example, and then you go back to your answer. You don't get that anywhere. There will be no books to tell you that, okay? My book would tell you that. No, just kidding. Okay, because I made that myself. Anyway, all I'm saying is this. Yes, Grace, it's something that 7 band score is really achievable if you know what to do. Okay, if you know what to do. And I think you already have an edge compared to those who haven't really heard this. So if you have friends, Grace, or for those of you there watching, if you need to play this back, please watch this video. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel, because Brian and I have really committed to it, that we're going to do this most often, or most often than not, because we have the same heart, we have the same desire, and that is to help Filipino nurses who have always been frustrated why they could not just get a 7 band score in their speaking exam. So if you think this is something helpful to you, or not maybe to you, but to your friend, we would appreciate that you can share this to your friend, and I hope that they could really get a 7 band score in their next examination for their IELTS. So again, like our FB page, we have Linguist Access Tutorial, that's our FB page, and also our YouTube channel. It's also Linguist Access Tutorial. It's actually on the link. And I'd like to also give this floor to Brian to promote, because he has a lot of good contents on YouTube. 2-minute video, he made a lot of videos there. And I can say that this is really purposive kind of content, because it's just direct to the point, what we need in order for us to pass the test. Yes, Brian, would you like to say something about your YouTube channel?
Yeah, I'm trying to make 2-minute videos on all of these subjects, because I often think that we should be able to compress everything we say down into 2 minutes. And I want people to be able to, just when they have a few moments, to search for IELTS Brian. I think we'll put the link under the video when it goes in later on. But I love short, direct to the point videos about just learning something. I think we all know where we're weak, and so hopefully these videos can go straight to the point.
Yes, so that's it. Brian and I, like I said, are here to really help all of you. So if you can like this I think it's somewhere there, subscribe, and make sure that you have that page you can like, or also so you'll be the first person to be notified if ever we are going to go live. Actually, we're going to be doing this every Tuesday, except yesterday I wasn't able to do that for some important reason. But anyhow, we'll try to do this again next meeting or next Tuesday, and hopefully you won't get tired watching this video and sharing this. So if you like this, please like this video or share this. Once again, thank you very much, Grace, for your time. It's such an honor and privilege that you'll be able to be part of your journey. Yes, Brian.
I'm just saying thank you, Grace.
Yes, okay, yes. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Grace. And hopefully we'll see you soon. I'll see you soon here. Okay, I'll see you soon in the US. I'll be seeing you here in the US. Okay?
Yes.
Hopefully, okay? I'll see you. And I'm so excited to also share to you the things that you need to know about other stuff. But for now, I think it's time to say bye-bye. Thank you very much, Brian.
Thank you.
Have a good day.
Yeah, have a good day. Bye-bye. Thank you.
Bye.